On behalf of the entire CIMB family, take this opportunity to heartily welcome Session Chair Mr. Manish Kumar Pandya, Fulbright Professor, Howard University, USA.
Mr. Manish Kumar Pandya is an award-winning Indian journalist who has worked for 26 years in India's top newsrooms of the Times of India, India Today Group and the ITV network in top editorial leadership positions. Besides a newsroom leader and an editor, he is an accomplished scholar and a global educator. He specializes in Indian politics and governance and of late has been writing extensively on international relations, India-US affairs and strategic affairs from Washington DC. Currently he is pursuing his PhD as a research scholar at Howard University in Washington DC. Over to you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay. Thanks a lot for such a warm introduction. And I need a personal pleasure because I have still very strong roots today. And that's the land where I started my first alphabet, in the village. And from there we moved to Delhi and from Delhi to Bangalore. And today I am every country's social path. So this is how which these laws in the US more from the point of view talking about.
There is some issue from your end and your voice is breaking. Maybe it's network.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, but in between your voice is breaking, so maybe something.
Okay. Anyway, as I said that I'm really delighted today to be part of this initiative by CIMB and I along with my co-chair will be now hosting our 8th product professionals and researchers who will be presenting different sets of topics in response to it. So I think it will be good that start speakers will Can I get?
Yes. Yes, you.
Warm welcome. Shall we come there? And shall I start with the presentation also?
Yes.
Good morning to all of you. This first slide is clearly depicting the topic of my paper. See, I'm leaving mine. If I won't be audible, then please do let me know, okay? Okay, the topic of my paper is rethinking ethical practices at workplace during pandemic times and HR approach. See, I have chosen this topic and the article that I have presented, it is more and less related with HR ethics and the ethical aspect of HR professional at the time of pandemic. ठीक है? Now you must be wondering that why I have chosen this topic. See, I'll just show a short presentation is there. See, what I think at this time of pandemic, ethics has become the need of hour. So through this paper, I have tried to relate the ethical role of HR professional and how the entire role has gradually changed because of this COVID situation. So this is the objective of this paper, and it is descriptive in nature. My just thought, what I think about the role of HR professionals, related with that, I have written this paper. So based on that, a short presentation is there. See, do not treat people simply as a means of our own purpose without their full and free consent, because they are end in themselves. First, I will try to give you a brief idea on HR ethics. I know that everybody is aware about this term ethics. It is related with our moral conduct which is right, which is wrong. Now, when we talk about HR professionals, they specifically deal with the entire workforce of the organization, and in a very simple language, we say that they are responsible for the growth, productivity, well-being, and motivational enhancement of their employees. So it is very important for human resource to think from ethics point of view. Their conduct, which is ethical, that will give a lasting impact to the profit of organization, because they are treating and training their workforce ethically. If their conduct is not ethical, one can imagine the consequence which in long term organization can face. So if you see this presentation, before I switch on further, what is my view related to the topic? See, I have related from my point of view. Human resource ethics is related with protecting rights, professional behavior, and promoting justice. When I say protecting rights, it is related with rights which every employee should enjoy in the organization. Okay. When we say that, this principle of belongingness should be there. That feeling should be there within the workforce that they belong to the organization. So when this right give and take relationship will be there, then of course it will have a very lasting impact on the growth of business also. So if I'm saying from ethical aspect point of view, protecting rights it means all the genuine rights which employee deserve, and equal rights should be given to the employees in the organization. I will come to this point further. Professional behavior. As an employer, if I am enjoying, for example, a rank of HR manager in the organization and other teams are working under me, then I should show a very high degree of professionalism students. It does not mean that I am utilizing my chair just for my own personal interest. This is very important. When I say promoting justice, it is very much related with equal opportunity in every aspect. See, traditionally if you go through book, HR ethics has certain elements. These all are the components of, you can say, which are related with ethical issues in HR, like cash and compensation plan, performance appraisal. Just now students, I said what? Protecting rights. You give equal opportunities to employee to grow. If I'm talking about promoting justice, it is very much related with this right performance appraisal. A deserving candidate should get deserving appraisal that he or she needs. Okay? If I am talking about employment issues, equal opportunity. There should be no discrimination on the basis of gender. These have been the, if we talk about traditional thought, then still, ma'am, I remember that there was big demarcation as far as male and female is concerned. Considering, this thought is there that if she is a female, then we have to suppress, we have to dominate. Maybe she is not very much capable. So in spite of the fact that she has all the talent, we create trouble for her in the organization. Now we have crossed all those age. So when I'm talking about HR ethics and issues in ethical issues in HR, see, job discrimination should not be there. Right compensation package should be there. Depending upon your candidature, right compensation is very important. You have, yes, employee privacy is very important. Employment issues, equal opportunity is very important. See, all these are the different elements under HR ethics. Professional is working on the ethical aspect of the organization. See, they work on all these issues. So, their conduct, we decide which conduct is good for them and which conduct is not good for them. If an HR is into false recruitment, it will be unethical behavior. If an HR is doing biasness based on gender, based on, maybe kind of job discrimination, based on appraising the employee, this is an unethical behavior of the HR professional. So HR ethics teaches us that do and don'ts. In a very simple language, students, if you are understanding what I am trying to tell you, see, HR ethics simply explains you your do and don'ts. What is good for the organization and for the employee, and what are the things which are unethical and it should be avoided. Just now I gave one example, false recruitment. Okay? Dislocating the employee. You are biased while you are in phase of performance appraisal. All these are what? All these are the unethical approach by an HR which must be avoided. Now you must be wondering that why I am talking about this. See, my topic is ethical issue at the time of pandemic. You must have realized this, that there has been significantly change in the role of HR because of this pandemic. Since situation has improved, guys, that's why I am standing here with you all. Okay, I have this courage to remove mask and talk. But few months before, you know what was the situation? Now you can imagine about organization. Because of this pandemic situation, until the time we were able to accept this situation, things would have been so much difficult for the organization. It would have been so much challenging. So the role of HR has become very challenging. And here, their ethical approach is the one which is connecting employer and employee when they are not present within the boundaries of the office. When they are not physically present. What I am trying to say, see, face-to-face interaction is not there. Now what is happening? With the help of exchange of mails, with the help of video conferencing, everyday work is going on. So how we will connect to my employees? Where is that connectivity and continuation of work? You know, hidden factor is my right ethics. Since we are maintaining that high degree of trust on our employees, this degree of trust, integrity, these all are helping us to be connected and continue with our work even when we are not present physically in the office, even when we are not within the physical boundary of the office. So when you are sitting at home, you are very much conscious that okay, my office time starts at 9. So I have to be there on time. This is very different thing that half we are formally dressed and half we are not. But anyways, see, my ethics, even sitting at home students, my ethics is forcing me to be so much connected and dedicated and get committed with the employer. This is the gist of the paper. Now see, I'll quickly move on to the presentation. This is a theoretical aspect about hard HRM and soft HRM. Basically, both hard and soft HRM can be considered as ethical under utilitarianism approach. Greatest good to greatest number. कोई ऐसी चीज जो आपको एक टाइम में बहुत ज़्यादा और बहुत large scale पे happiness provide करे. This is one of the theory of HR ethics. And I'll just very briefly talk about the hard and soft HRM. Both are essential from ethics point of view. And okay. Now see, since there's a problem with the presentation, see, further in the presentation, this is what I have tried to quote.
Dr. Sinha, it's 12 minutes already.
Okay, just a second, sir. My integrity, my resilience, flexibility at work, the connectivity that we are able to maintain because of this ethics that an employer is also maintaining, that employee is also maintaining. This is helping us a lot in coping up with the situation and continuing our business. Further in the presentation, as I said, the topic is ethical aspect of HR and what changes that has been taken place in the role of human resource. So in the presentation, if I am able to show you, we have talked about certain significant change in the role of human resource management, which is the demand of current situation. Like we are in the world of digitalization. ठीक है? अभी क्या है? We are at virtual platform. If we consider that remote work from home strategy, my remote working. Now see, we are very much normal with this term, ma'am, these days. Otherwise, when the phase of pandemic, introductory phase of pandemic was there, we were very much puzzled. घर से कैसे काम होगा? Employees were also puzzled. What we will do? Will we be able to make our employee work from home? Will we receive that productivity, dedication, commitment? See, dear students, every aspect, my ethics is the building block. Now, we are very much normal with this situation. Now, people have understood what is remote working. People know what is work from home strategy is and what is the benefit. Now, gradually, employers and employees both are realizing that my time is saved. My cost is saved. It is giving me work flexibility. I am able to save my time, cost, and still I am productive. How? The true mentoring by these HR professionals, continuous mentoring by these HR professionals, and the hidden force of ethics. The ethical.
Dr. Sinha, the time is up.
Okay, so this is all overall. So I'll just take 1 minute to conclude the entire presentation. I don't know what happened with the presentation. It is not.
No, you can move on.
Okay, yeah, okay. Now see, just a minute, sir. Just 1 minute, I'll take. See, on all these aspects, whether it is a cloud-based HR system, whether it is my online training, and whether it is connecting employee experience with new technology, because we are in the world of digitalization, whether it is my physical as well as mental well-being of the employee. See, all these are the change role of HR now, and now HR is performing from this aspect point of view. very important part is my cloud-based HR system. Anywhere, anytime, we can connect with our people. Okay? Anywhere, anytime, we can track employees. To keep them motivated, to keep them dedicated, committed, online trainings are there. We are through virtual onboarding, we are able to do good recruitment, and we are saving our money also. All these are what? In this phase of pandemic, which is very difficult, see, this is how we can maintain continuity, this is how we can ethically, we can get connect to our employees. This is how we can save our money also, and we can think about profit also. This is the way which on the basis of which I have concluded the entire topic. And lastly, sir, I will just last point. See, this is the takeaway which is mentioned, and yes. In this phase of pandemic, sustainability of organization truly depends upon strong ethics and values. There was much more to say, but I can well understand that there is time crisis also. But this is what even I will like to conclude. The role of HR has significantly changed, and this ethics is binding us in this time of difficulty. So we can take this pandemic situation as opportunity rather than, crime, that what will happen. Rather to overcome this fear, I mean, we can take it more as an opportunity. Thank you so much. A few examples I would like to give, sir. If we talk about Indian companies like Tata, Mahindra, see, and many more, they were with government as far as fight of pandemic is concerned. Many converted their resort, gave their resort freely for the quarantine period. There were many companies who provided employees leave on pay. There were many companies who paid employees when they were in the quarantine period. There were many companies who took care of daily wages by providing them food, clothing, shelter. All these are the examples of social obligations which company do for the society. If I take example of Parle Ji, sir, I was going through one article. I think crore of investment Parle Ji has done on CSR by providing them free biscuits and mineral waters, and that too to the passerby, to the daily wages. So these all are very good examples of corporate social responsibility, and this shows the high standard these organizations, high ethical standards of these organizations.
Actually, those examples would have added value to your presentation as well as more relevance to this conference.
So all these are, but because of lack of time.
Those should be reflected on slides.
Because this topic, in fact, one thing is employee welfare is not a part of CSR.
Okay.
CSR is only there when, first of all, money transaction takes place, and it has to be on a project basis. Anything which you are doing ad hoc,
Okay.
anything you are doing just for the employee welfare is not part of the CSR. As a CSR. CSR is a different thing altogether. So this topic is good for the HR people and for any company. But I personally, maybe I may be wrong.
No, it's okay, sir. Your opinion will always add value to me. I'm still a learner, sir. So I've tried to relate ethics and corporate social responsibility, and then I've tried to talk on the topic. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, students.
Because ultimately, especially even for the pandemic time, how ethics and all those things that we are talking about. The concluding slide, we are talking about artificial intelligence and where and how we are going to implement those ethics and all those things that are not very clear from the paper that you presented. As you say that you have put all these things in the paper, but then they should have been reflected on the slide to make more meaningful presentation here.
Okay, sir. I'll try
And
to do it next time.
quite a few of us are, we all are students, so we can be our experienced students.
Yes.
Please. Please.
So it's okay.
Can we move on to the...
Okay.
Yeah.
the PPT, so that at least we can have a look at it, and then we can make a judgment. Because frankly speaking, she was presenting, and I could not even see all the slides, and also I could not hear her all through the session. So we can, the organizers can start working back and how to.
Yes, sir, we will be able to see the presentation.
Okay, so anyway, and I wanted to know, is my co-chair around? Dr. Murthy?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very good morning, all of dignitary of this conference and our professors and our friends and our presenter. Very good morning. And now I am
You
going
can
to
take the mic, huh? Because
And please face the camera so the chair can see you
hello. Yes.
rather than face us. Am I clear?
yes, please carry on.
Okay, thank you. My presentation topic is corporate social responsibility, development and welfare. So first I come to the introduction topic that here I introduce this that sales relation integrated into a business model, that is CSR is self-integrated with any business model, and in triple bottom line is triple P, that is people, planet and profit, that is already told in our organization by services. And another one is connected growth made us aware to do a star creatives. First one is life lifted million out of poverty. That means CSR policy lifted millions of people from poverty. But on the other hand, what we see that accelerated depletion of natural resources and
Mr. Amarjeet, please go and face the camera so the
Yes.
chair can see you.
Straight away you can go to the podium.
okay.
Where Rajesh is standing.
You will be visible and audible both.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
And other hand, sustainable development have become priority of business across the group. And otherwise is organizational priority and implementation mandate. Before 2013 company act, it was voluntary for all, voluntary. But after company act, it has become mandatory for those company who comes under this act. Our objective is to understand the importance of CSR inclusive development and welfare, and to study the various activities of corporate for the sustainable development and the welfare scheme. So our research methodology is HOT based on case study, and I have classed secondary sources and we have selected several resources, several organizations, which is HUL, Tata, ITC, and Coca-Cola, Vedanta, and CRP. Limitation of this paper is that I have selected simple size, a small size, and first I will come to the HUL, Hindustan Unilever. It would Hindustan Unilever is a well-known company, and it is doing well in their CSR. And you can see that there is it is like its first initiative certificate where this company rolled up the combined social security with the SHG, with the help of SHG, and it's also provided livelihood of 1,31,000 women entrepreneurs in 50 Indian states of 50 Indian states in the year 2020. And another one is it's also training the 2.45 million women to develop their skills and to end up with their skills. And another one is Tata Group. We know Tata Group is a well-known company and is also it's famous for also welfare and first their product were also for welfare. First, I would like to say their Astri steel that is 100% recyclable, and it's this company is for that this company is also working NGOs and many central government agencies, and there another one is Travel Society and Tata Steel Improvements Foundation working for HIV/AIDS, and Tata another one is company Tata Chemicals, which is working for the social inequality and established in 1980. And another one is Tata Group, that is Tata Motors. Tata Motors is there is several company for this CSR from the end of Tata Group. First one is rebuild of more than by it's in their manufacturing process. They utilize their resources, and they do a lot of research, and they also develop a green belt from to 1 last stage, and they also have they also develop rainwater harvested weekend so that total maintenance its operation, and it's help the country in COVID-19. Now other companies, winner companies, ITC. It's branded agro. It's for agro product and food businesses, and it's each of our campaign, renowned campaign for this country, and they are working across 35,000 villages using tires across in 10 states of India. And afforestation program. This company worked for farmers and the research. There R&D team work for their farmers, and they do a lot of things for our farmers. And another one is bigger company, that is Godrej. Its campaign is good and green goals. That is also for CSR, and their product is related to good and green nutritionally, and they also have a training program for youth to increase the income. And Godrej runs community-based waste management projects under the circular economy initiative. And other one is Coca-Cola Limited, of which SMS is based on SMS company is based on company. And another one is Unnati Mitra Sonapura. It is for farmers, and they help to the sugarcane farmers. And Coca-Cola pays over 100 crore for Coca-Cola. Vedanta Limited, Vedanta company, its Natina product is working in 2,300 villages across the area in 11 states. And another one is our Chandgupta Institute of Management. That you can compare that, you can say that they are comparing to organization, to our CRT. I am not comparing with this. But I want to only say that this institute is also performing one hand. CIMT is the one hand of sector side, but it is working in donor side. It is working for our society. Their project is Beautiful Mind. This is there's a lot of members and champions who is working for this in Beautiful Mind. They teach the privileged students. And another digital village. This through the corporate skills are adopting they are adopting the Thama village in the district of Sitamarhi, and they develop a technology center there. By that they can work for that villages person who are not aware of technology. So another one is I have taken some data from CSR side. Sierra's spent amount on data state file we can see, and here we can see that which amount they are utilized in each state these amounts are going. So we can say that we can see that sir, is it mainly amounts is going in, we can say that is Maharashtra state, and another one is Rajasthan and Karnataka and
Try to complete.
please 1 minute sir. Sorry. And sector wise spent CSR fund is in this sector mainly we can see that their spend is mainly in education sector and education sector and health sector. And recommendation and conclusion from this from my side recommendation is that apart from education and health, there is need to spend of CSR fund in other sector also. And another is companies should be increase their activities in remote area of backward state also. And there is a need to create such a standard audit system which can tell how much society is benefiting from CSR activities, sustainable development standard 3, that is our conclusion. Sustainable development standard 3 pillar, that is economic growth, economic balance, and social progress, not rather but related to sustainable data. 1 for do more with less resources, and another one is social agenda from outside the business sector. Focus on framework condition which business must target increase society, not expect from those business world.
Mr. Kumar, please wrap up.
Thank you. Any question?
From where did you get that?
I got as CSR scientist of Government of India.
So state also does that CSR.
Yes, yes, there is a mention all the data from that side, state wise, and there how much amount they are spent of CSR amount.
Governments which are there.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen any increase in the CSR spent in Bihar, particularly?
But no, sir, I have seen that side, but there is comparatively low,
Yes.
Comparatively
But gradually it's increasing.
Yes, sir, that's gradually increasing. I have seen that, sir. Approx.
You recommend that apart from health and education, they should be spent in other areas.
Yes, sir.
But the slide that you are showing, some of the companies are already doing that. Green belt creation, agroforestry and all those things. So what are the areas? Do you have anything in mind?
Yes,
It's
sir.
just a conclusion.
Yes, with this slide, sir, I have already mentioned that, sir, sector-wise, sir, we can see that, sir, they are not working on other sector-wise such.
Which is the first one, the highest one?
Education.
Education.
And another one is that is health.
Health.
Yes, sir. But another one we can see that R&D section very less, and Swachh Ganga Mission, that is also very less. That is the important today. That is the today importance. We can say we can see the pollution in NCR and other sector we can also in Patna.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you, Amardeep.
Thank you so much, sir.
So you can try connecting there. Share the So am I audible and is it clear also? Thank you, sir. So very good morning to all of you. We were the first committee about the scale of crafting, that is plain crafting. But the recent trends what have been found that actually I am working on this committee as for my PhD research topic. It is my research topic. So what is the major problems we are facing that the new generations, the people from this community, they are just living this form and they are just taking it as an equality complex. So there is somewhat need of intervention development so that we can just motivate them to work as their work is very much sustainable. And that's why, so my major topic will be discussing about the Bihar community, what are the problems we are facing. So objective will be that what are the problems and challenges of them and what are the scope of CSR opportunities so that they can, developmental organizations can support them So this is the major theme, and for things I have used for the in-depth literature studies, and here we will be discussing exploratory and destructive research using primary and secondary both data. And mostly data will be the both quantitative and qualitative, collected from the various sources, books, research papers. So first, I would like to just discuss, as per my paper, what is the meaning of development of organizations. So it is organizations in which group of people are engaged in various developmental activities, either related to health, economy, education, welfare, or poverty reduction, or any other human concerns which is better for them. So overall, the attempt would be here that to secure social and economic change in favor of marginalized group of the society with human rights and social justice. It can be in large and small and formal or informal organizations, which can be externally funded or driven by volunteers. So I have categorized it into civil society or NGO, business organizations, government organizations. Next is corporate social responsibility. As we all we are very known to this term, that it is very much it is a firm's initiative to evaluate and take accountability for their effects on environmental and social well-being. As earlier session we already discussed that what is the triple bottom effect. So CSR majorly focuses on the capital generation for the optimal benefit of all the stakeholders, either it's shareholders, employees, customers, environment, and society. The stakeholders are those due to whom indirectly or directly the performances and activities of business organizations depends. So, from my point of view, the objective should not be only sharing the profits, but we have to share values among them in such a way that people who are directly or indirectly connected with the company should feel like assets rather than liability. It should be vice versa also, because if we are not working towards our organizations from our higher efficiency level, then it also must be working. So major expectations from the CSR are to create suitable incomes and path for those who are marginalized in the society and help them to move with the mainstream. So next is interventional development. So it is an adjective form of the intervention, which means incorporating or characterized by interventions. Intervention is such an intentional interference. Earlier, in most cases, it is being used by the social worker, and even in the mass communication field they are using. But in community sense, we have initiated to work in this sector. As I am from the social work background. So, Sidman defined intervention as action that changes inter-societal relationships.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you make it full page? Full slide to more?
Oh, okay, so. Is it okay, sir?
Yeah, this is okay.
Okay. So Sidman defined in 1983 that interventions as actions that change intra-societal relationships, whether it could be planned or unplanned, intended or unintended. So interventions in social work can take place on different levels, including individuals, groups, organizational, or community, regional, and national level. Even Cambridge Dictionary defines this term as which is aimed at changing a process or situation. So, for the summarization of this term, I have defined it as the perspective of community, which is defined as the process of development which has been incorporated or characterized by the group of interventions from outside the community. As we are already, it is going on, the research it is going on interventional and intraventional term, because the topic is complementary research over Kumar community in Jharkhand, intra and interventional development approach. So, in such a case, we are taking interventional development as a term which is the proper interventions from outside the community, and intra is the term which is being used as the interventions within the community. So, in context of community social work, we already there are many terms like community development, community organizations who are from social work background, they are well known to these terms. Community development is a process by which the efforts of the people themselves are combined with those of the governmental or any NGOs or any other organizations to improve the economic and social cultural conditions. So in case of interventional development, the basic difference is that it must be initiated by the development organizations, which is from outside the community, and it must be based on the policy of project formulation. As for example, we can take the particular center of the government of Jharkhand. They have initiated this company as a interventional development. So, and another thing is that the community self-sustenance continued in the same way as the community development. That there should be intervention in such a way that it must continue for the larger period. Otherwise, again we have to intervene. Then it will be a trouble. Then that's why we are just differentiating it from the community development. Next is somewhat characteristics which we have taken it here as an interventional development characteristics. There must be contribution of one kind or the other into even social systems for the objective of positive change. Effort must be initiated by external agencies. The contributions can be delivered through the projects and programs and in the time frame of the interventions. The external agencies will have to work as catalysts for having change. They must be continued as self-sustaining sooner or later in the community, even after the projects and programs ends. It should be fostering sustainable self-sufficiency for the people involved. So this is the process of development intervention. Madhumita Pal, she has written in her book Social Interventions, and this is the development process as for me that we have to identify the social institutions, what are the purpose in the social system, and what are the functions being done by the institutions, then type of the institutions, then what is the working of them in a social change process, and either it's intervening developing countries, and what are the collaboration during the interventions, what are the trends of development interventions, what are the impacts. You can take my paper for the better reference. I have defined it clearly there. So next are the challenges that as we have already we have known that there is time limitation here. So I will focus on the last part, that is the challenge and problems of the Kumar community, which has been collected by the private data from just two slides.
All right, thank you, thank you.
The major challenges are that there are lack of demand of water use, that data has been collected from the Saraikela district and the Dhulpa districts, and they are having lack of having deep ideas of the skill in crafting. They are not getting the good quality of soil, and they are not having any financial support from the bank or the other sector because of that crafting the skill, and they don't have their kids are being they are having lack of educations, and they don't have the specific space to practice pottery, and including complex is another problem. In newer generations, there is no any cheaper transport facilities, there are lack of storage possibilities, health problems is there, and opportunities, overall CSR opportunities that we can provide better skill development training. So that they can survive in this competitive world, and their kids are lagging because they are not getting that much support. They are not getting that much support from this work. So providing them and their kids better education with the help of CSR interventions will help them. Next, CSR project can also help in providing missions related to pottery, as it is environment friendly work. And we know that there are a lot of products. I am just, is it visible or not? I am just showing you from my video. So these are the products which is being generated by them, and I am the user of that product. Even I am showing you. This is the just tawa. We can say that the frying pan, and this is the thatta, which is used for that. So I use these products. So I will just say that you have to just campaign for such products in the market sector, and for that you have to train them. People from this community are somewhere lacking in that sector. They are not getting financial support, even they are not wrap up. Yes, at the end I will just say that overall it is consumers, business organizations and industries' collective responsibility to promote their work, keeping in view of sustainable development, social and economic justice. So thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
I have some questions to you before I move on to the other participant.
Okay,
so in one of the slides you have pointed out that the challenges
yes,
and the problems.
Yes, sir.
But in As a researcher, when you are pointing out, I can also, the journalist, write reads and reads about what is going back with the Kumar community.
Yes, sir.
But when you are actually citing, the challenges and other things, and you are pointing to the drawbacks and the limitations, you should have valid reasons to support your argument, including the people, if not indicating at least you should cite some news articles.
Yes.
Not anything. Second thing.
Yes, sir.
Second thing.
Yes, sir.
All your research is like 5 years old, 2003, 2013, 2017. Do you know how much work has been done in the last on the Khadi side?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It has been working. That's why there is.
Why is not that included?
Actually, sir, that has been mentioned in the article. So, if there is the limitations of.
But as a researcher, it is very much available on the Khadi website. You can just ask if you are doing your methodology should show that you have sought information from Khadi board.
Yes, sir. That is Jharkhand. There is a Khadi board in Jharkhand.
Khadi phones, especially in Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, Rajasthan, there are two things. One is Sputnik, the other is Khadi Sashashtikaran Yojana.
Yes, sir.
I have covered myself that week. I know in the last 6 years how Khadi has become an institution, not only international, but the way they have revolutionized and made it a commercial thing by because employment is the main issue with the Prime Minister. So, and Khadi is one thing which they have used it as very independent. It's the biggest story of Atmanirbhar and the only successful story of Atmanirbhar. I cannot vouch for others.
Yes.
But your research should have all those things.
Yes, yes.
Research is not only to criticize and take out something, or if you are criticizing, then you should have valid citations.
Yes.
I hope you can blast the government, you can blast the system, but you should have valid publications.
Yes, yes.
Those particular people have done research. A 2003 research can give you a theoretical part of the intervention, development of mechanism.
Yes.
But it cannot, because your topic is very much into the problems of and the challenges of the Kumar community. For that you have to go on the ground and do some sort of a cross-sectional survey, or you have to do some sort of interviews with the Kumar people.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, whatever I have mentioned, the problems in the PPT, that has been collected by myself, that is from the Saraikela and Dumka districts, and more than 200 households I have contacted, but I have mentioned that here only 2 districts, I have collected more than 300 samples. So, actually, I am just.
Also should be reflected in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Second thing, when you are doing a PPT, be crisp, be short.
Yes.
Don't write so much in your PPTs.
Yes.
Okay. PPTs are there to, PPTs are just to tell in crisp, because rest you are talking.
Yes.
Most of the people, 90% of the people, they commit a mistake while doing their PPT because they just read out the PPTs.
Yes.
If PPTs are only there to be read out, then why should the presenter be there? Then we will read it out ourselves on the laptop.
Yes.
Okay, I hope you got my point.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
But it's a great topic to go for, and it's for the CSR to actually join hands with organizations like Khadi and other state boards and all to make it a comprehensive, inclusive program where these marginalized communities can be brought into the region.
Thank you. Thank you. Topic of this presentation is about corporate social responsibility within India, its journey, trends, and future trajectories. So, as we know that society and business enterprise link the society forms as an ecosystem or environment, right? And business processes are highly complex. So they discuss lead to some positive as well as negative influence. And subsequently, they might have negative impact on society as such as positive one. That is how we say it. So there is an organizational responsibility whenever any organized or enterprise is performing business. Now, these all things are being actually viewed from larger context, so larger theoretical framework that is this theory as well. That says that there is a implicit contact between an organization and the society where it operates. And they, until unless organization doesn't perform according to the needs of the society, it doesn't achieve that legitimacy to perform in that domain. And probably there is an opportunity in the form of CSR for organization to showcase itself as a good corporate citizen. So there are, in the larger context of CSR, there has been multiple challenges. One of the challenges being definitional one. In the introductory session, we came about this, company rate and why CSR definition has not been mentioned in that Companies Act 2013. Probably, but then to understand this whole thing, larger context, the definition given by WBCSD seems to be a largely passing one and covering multiple aspects. To summarize, it basically means that an organization has to take care of the stakeholders. So, historically, CSR has been seen as a current of people a challenge, but then after amendment or enactment of that Companies Act and Section 135, it has now become a mandatory one for companies which are actually applicable wherever these laws are in place. And there has been a renewed interest in CSR after that enactment of Companies Act 2013. Now, there have been few reasons for undertaking this study. One of the main reasons is that there have been around 7-8 years since this CSR has been seen as a mandate, and would like to see how it has performed, how is the structure, conduction, performance of the CSR sector, particularly in India. And when India intends to aspires to become a high trillion economy, a lot of companies are going to make a lot of profit, and subsequently there are going to be good expenditure on CSR. So it makes sense to critically evaluate where we are and what kind of changes we should take effective to truly use good amount of money that is going to be spent on CSR intervention. So now, from a choice to a mandate system, it also requires some kind of closer examination of journey in India. So in this, based on extensive literature, some factors that become very important to understand when we try to analyze the journey of CSR in India. These are 4-5 factors or 4-5 parameters that become very important when we see CSR journey in terms of relevance and long-term sustainability. And these are the 5 ones. Like it should be having long-term perspective, focused and consistent, should be contextually aligned, should tend to get the period of reduce poverty, and encourage participation of multiple organizations. Now, so in this particular research, I have tried to examine research questions, and these are the key 6 research questions for focusing on how learning has been and whether this expenditure on CSR has been for compliance or restrictive purposes, whether these interventions are focused or consistent, are these CSR interventions contextually aligned, whether CSR have been able to actually contribute to poverty reduction. And last, So these 6 questions are very technical. Studied in this my research, and that has been done using secondary data, and the sources are mentioned here. So coming to the results, I know that I have only another 3-4 years. What I will do is I will try to summarize whatever the findings of these 6 research questions. The first research question is about the momentum or the pace of the CSR development in India. The pace is quite encouraging. CAGR of around 24%. So it's an encouraging thing. But the next one, this is regarding whether CSR expenditure for compliance perspective. Largely it is based for because more and more number of companies are spending more money than what is right. And so we are sometimes showcasing specific intent toward CSR. The next one is about the focus on very few things like healthcare and education. It is actually showing a decline phase. So probably there is a lack of sensitivity in terms of CSR.